it's Mother Earth here again. I'm so excited you're here to join me for another story time. So while we wait for everybody to join us, I want to talk to you guys about your homework from last Thursday. Remember we talked about recycling and the kinds of things that have to go in the trash versus the kinds of things that have to go in the recycling bin. So I'd be interested to hear in the comments how you helped your mom and dad and parents at home cook over the weekend and decide which items need to be recycled. So while we're waiting for our friends to do that, please go ahead and tell us how your recycling went over the weekend. And while we're waiting for more people to join us, hi Sarah! Sarah is on our Grow OKC board and she loves the earth and I'm so glad she's here to join us. So while we're waiting for everybody to join us, I want to introduce you to my dog Hank. This is Hank. He's going to be joining us for story time. He's a really good boy. He just likes to chill with me on the couch, and so he wanted to come and say hi. But keep typing in the comments and tell me how your homework went, what kinds of things you recycled over the weekend, and how helpful you were in the kitchen with your parents. And we'll get started in just a couple of seconds here. If you're joining us, go ahead and let us know you're here. Maybe where you're from. Okay, I know we've got a couple of friends with us. Hi, everybody. So glad you're here. Again, if you're just joining us, please type in the comments and let us know who's here and where you're coming from. And we'll get started here in just a couple of seconds. Okay, so we have two books for you today that we're going to read. And the first book that I really, really love is called A Tree is Nice. A Tree is Nice. And the book was written by, that means the author. The author is Janice May Udry. And the pictures are by Mark Simont. He is the illustrator. Okay. Let's get started. Tree is nice. Trees are very nice. They fill up the sky. Look at all those trees. Have you ever been anywhere that looks like that? They go beside the rivers and down the valleys. They live up on the hills. Okay, so trees are everywhere. They're by our rivers, they're on the hills. You can see a tree in almost any place. Trees make the woods. They make everything beautiful. So if you've ever been to the forest, you've seen lots of trees. Miss Lisa just joined us. Hi, Miss Lisa. And my biggest fan, my mother, the mother of Mother Earth. Even if you have just one tree, it is nice too. A tree is nice because it has leaves. The leaves whisper in the breeze all summer long. Yeah. In the fall, the leaves come down and we play in them. We walk in the leaves and roll in the leaves. So the leaves fall down during the fall. We build playhouses out of the leaves, then we pile them up with our rakes and have a bonfire. A tree is nice because it has a trunk and limbs. We can climb the tree and see over all the yards. We can sit on a limb and think about things, or play pirate ship up in the tree. So these kids are climbing a tree. They climbed the trunk, that's the big part in the middle, and then they climbed the limbs. If it is an apple tree, we can climb it to pick apples. Does anyone who's joining us have a fruit tree in their yard? I have a plum tree in my backyard. Cats get away from dogs by going up the tree. Birds build nests in the tree and live there. Sticks come off the trees too. We draw in the sand with sticks. So sometimes animals use the tree as a safe place, or sometimes they even live there, like birds and squirrels. A tree is nice to hang a swing in, or a basket of flowers. It is a good place to lean your hoe while you rest. Have any of you ever been in a tree swing? A tree is nice because it makes shade. The cows lie down in the shade when it is hot. How many of you like to lay under the shade of a tree when it's hot outside? I do. People have picnics there too. And the baby takes his nap in the buggy under the shade. The tree provides a nice place for people to gather with their families. Hi, Meg. We're so glad Meg is here with her little girls. Hi, guys. A tree is nice for a house to be near. The tree shades the house and keeps it cool. The tree holds off the wind and keeps the wind from blowing the roof off of the house sometimes. So trees can help protect our houses and keep them cool. A tree is nice to plant. You dig the biggest hole you can and you put the little tree in it. Then you pour lots of water and then the dirt. You hang the shovel back in the garage. Every day for years and years, you watch the little tree grow. You say to people, I planted that tree. So some trees are planted by people, and some trees are planted by animals when they're carrying nuts and seeds around. Tell me in the comments if you've ever helped plant a tree before. They wish they had one so they could go home and plant a tree too. Oh my goodness. I just love that book. It talks about all of the awesome things that trees do for us and how we can use them in our everyday lives, and we enjoy their beauty and their shade, and they're just a nice place to gather and hang out with your family and friends. So I have a quick homework assignment for you guys from A Tree is Nice. And what I want you to do is take a walk with your family, either around your neighborhood or in your back or front yard. You can go to a local park or a local lake and find your favorite tree. So take a nice long walk and pick one tree that you really, really love. And then I want you to sit down and write a story about that tree. Now, if you're not ready to write yet, you can just tell a story, okay, with your words. So I want you to tell or write a story about a tree. Okay, so the tree had a beginning, so that will be the beginning of our story. So I want you to tell me, was the tree planted by a person? Was it planted by a bird? How did the tree come to be there? And then I want you to make up a story about how that tree is used every day. So tell a story about the tree. Do kids climb the tree? Do squirrels play in the tree? Did a couple have a picnic under that tree yesterday? Okay, so we have our beginning and our middle, and then I want you to tell me about the future of the tree. What do you think will happen to that tree moving forward? Who's going to take care of it? Who's going to enjoy it? Okay, so you can draw a picture of your favorite tree and then write a story or tell a story. Okay, but I want you to pick a tree that you really, really, really love and tell me an awesome story, and I'll check back in on it on Thursday, okay? Hank, what did you think? Did you like A Tree is Nice? Did you like that story? He did like that story, and he's ready for another one too. Okay, our next story is called Oh, Say, Can You Seed? And it is a story with the Cat in the Hat. So it's a fun rhyming story. Oh, say, can you seed? I'm the Cat in the Hat, and I think that you need to come take a look at this thing called a seed. From the giant gum tree to this very small weed, every flowering plant started out as a seed. Plants are so useful to me and to you. Can you think of some ways? I'll name a few. How are plants useful? How are plants useful? Well, we just learned that trees give us shade. What else can we do with plants? We can eat them, okay? The paper for books and the cloth for your pants comes from trees and from cotton. That's two kinds of plants. The grains and the fruits and the veggies you eat, why, they come from plants too. And here's something neat. Hi, Tyler. I'm so glad you're joining us. So we use it for paper. It makes our clothes, and it makes veggies and plants and seeds for us to eat. In deserts and woods and rainforests thick, grow plants that can make you feel well when you're sick. Yes, plants serve us well and fill so many needs. And flowering plants all start as seeds. What is a seed? We're going to find out. Just what is a seed, you are wondering maybe. Well, you might say a seed is a tiny plant baby. The best way for you to see just what I mean is to take a close look at a seed called a bean. Like all seeds, a bean comes in three basic parts. Thing 1 and thing 2. Please bring on the charts. They're coming to show us about a bean. Part 1 is the first that I think you should know. It's the part that's the baby. It's called the embryo. To sprout, it needs food, like you and I do. Which brings us to seed, part number 2. It's called cotyledon. Say, isn't that fun? This bean seed has 2, but some others only have 1. Last comes the third part. That you need to know. It's the coat which protects our cute bean embryo. Okay, so it has 3 parts: the embryo, the cotyledon, and the coat. To sprout a bean seed, keep it moist but not wet. Keep it covered with dirt, then see what you get. In 7 days or so comes the part that I love. A sprout spreads below, and a stem shoots above. If you look really close, you can see the root and the shoot, the stem. Now, in order to show you a grown bean plant to you, we've traveled in time for some months, maybe 2. Okay, so it took months and months for the plant to get this big. See how long its roots are and how big the part up here is? It has flowers and a stem and the fruit. They call it a fruit, but that's the part that makes the beans. It says thing 2 calls the part above the ground the shoot system. Thing 1 calls the part underground the root system. So we have roots and shoots. To get a good look at the roots underground, it is better to make like a mole, I have found. Roots are not pretty. They're twisty and hairy. And some roots look even a little bit scary. Roots anchor a plant and help it stand true. Roots suck up the water and minerals too. So these plants use their root systems to eat and drink in the same way that you use your mouth. And roots keep the soil from washing away. That's pretty important, now wouldn't you say? So the roots keep the soil, when it rains, from washing away. So it's really important to not just pull plants out of the ground. I want to point out another cool thing here too. This is showing a tree and grass, and look at these roots. Do these roots look familiar? Those roots are carrots. So some of the vegetables that we even eat are actually roots. They're called root vegetables. Can you think of any other root vegetables like carrots that grow underground? I can think of a few. Potatoes, onions, garlic. We've talked about roots. We have learned about them. Now it is time that we move on to the stem. The stem is a pipe through which water shoots. It's absorbed from the soil and passed up through the roots. See the water going up the roots, up through the stem. It shoots through the plant, and next, as you'll see, the leaves each turn into a food factory. Leaves come in all shapes and sizes, I found. Some small and some spiky, some big and some round. But the thing that all leaves have in common is this. They make their own food by photosynthesis. I'll say this quite loudly, and I don't mean to be rude, but plants are the only living things on earth that make their own food. To do this, plants need water, minerals, and sun. And that is why the daytimes when food making's done. Okay? So they need water, minerals, which come from the earth, which come from soil, and the sun to do photosynthesis. For your information, and also for fun, hop in my shrink upper and let's see how it's done. The leaf takes in CO2, that's carbon dioxide, through a stoma or pore. It works like a mouth, and that's what it's for. Then the air gets mixed in with the water and sun, and that's how the food-making factory is run. I see by my clock that now is the hour to drop in and say hello to the flower. So the carbon dioxide, the CO2, goes in through the pores of the plant, and it gets mixed with the hot water and sun, and that makes food for the plant. Thing 2 has a chart he will share with you that shows what the parts of a flower all do. In the pistil are 2 ovules. They're unfertilized seeds. The stamen holds pollen, which an ovule needs. An unfertilized ovule will not ever grow, and pollen's the stuff that will fix that, you know. A flower's own pollen or another's okay. That's where the bee plays a role, by the way. Do you see the bees? The bees are there to help pollinate the plants. That's why bees are so important to our ecosystem, okay? To make honey, bees need to get nectar from flowers. They fly and they gather this sweet stuff for hours. The pollen sticks onto their bodies and legs, it falls off, and sometimes it reaches the eggs. So the bees are just going from flower to flower and eating, but they're taking pollen along the way and helping fertilize other plants so they can make new plants. An ovule that's fertilized becomes a seed. Around it grows fruit upon which we feed. When we say the word fruit, do you know what that means? It means olives, nuts, grains, plantains, and tangerines. And apples and oranges and pineapple too. All kinds of plant foods that are healthy for you. So what does that mean? If the bee helps fertilize all of these plants, and these plants grow seeds that we eat, does that mean the bees are important to our food, to helping us make food? Yeah, we got to take care of our bees. Not all plants with seeds give us edible fruit. Some plants that have seeds that look weird or look cute. But seeds are hitchhikers that ride on your clothes, and dandelion seeds sometimes fly up your nose. Some seeds come in pods that explode like a sneeze. Other seeds may have wings and can fly on a breeze. So all seeds look very different, and we're going to get to look at a few seeds here in a second, okay? But whether they stick or they blow or they fly, seeds bring us life, and now you know why. I see the sun setting, and here comes the moon. Your mother is calling. Your dinner is soon. I hope you have learned from my little seed talk. And now I will climb up the giant beanstalk. Okay. I love that book because it teaches us all about seeds and why fruit and bees are important to our food system. So I'm going to show you how to do a quick little experiment that you can do with things that you probably have at home. Okay. So I gathered a Ziploc bag and a wet paper towel. And what we're going to do is take some dried beans, legumes, or grains. So all of these are things that I found in my pantry. These are chickpeas or garbanzo beans. They're a legume, so they come in a seed pod, just like these lentils. Very hard to see, but they're orange and they're small, okay? And they look super different, right? These ones are big and they're tan and they're round, and these ones are little and they're orange and they're flat. But they're both legumes and they're both a type of bean, okay? And then the last one that we have is actually a sort of a type of grain. It's called quinoa, but it will also sprout. So what we're going to do with these seeds and legumes and beans is we're going to try to sprout them. So the first thing that you need to do, when you have bigger seeds, like these garbanzo beans, soak them in water overnight, and then put them in a plastic bag with a damp paper towel, and then you want to tape it or hang it in a sunny window. And you want to keep the seed on the side facing you so you can observe it as it emerges and starts to put on its roots and its stems. Now the smaller ones, you don't necessarily have to soak overnight. You can just put right in your bag. So just find some, and these are all dry. You have to use dry ones. You can't use canned because they've already been soaked and they're not sprouted. So you have to use dry ones that you find in your pantry. It could be anything. It could be black beans, pinto beans, all different kinds of legumes, beans, and grains. So just find a couple of dried things that you have in your pantry and tape them up in your window, and then I want you to observe what's going to happen to them. They'll put on a root and a shoot. And that should happen, depending on the size of the seed, should happen within 2, 3, 4 days. You'll start seeing those roots, and you can make those observations, and then we'll check back in on Thursday. So I'm excited to hear, after we hop off here, I want you to go look in your pantry and see what you can find that you have that is dried and you can sprout in your window. So as soon as we hop off of here, I want you to write in the comments and tell me what you found, and maybe even show me a picture of your seed hanging in the window waiting to sprout. So that's all I have for today. If anybody has any quick questions, we can take some quick questions. I know we had quite a few of you joining us. So if there are no questions, I'm going to go ahead and hop off here. I had so much fun reading with you guys today, and I will check in on Thursday with our homework on your story about your tree and on your bean sprouting and observing the different parts of the seed. So Hank is so glad that you joined us. Say bye-bye, Hanky. Say bye-bye. Thanks, guys.